All right, hello YouTube. Welcome. We're doing a replay, Dazzle replay for Lemonelli live on stream, so you'll see some chat questions pop up on the side. All right, so let's see. Where are you at right now, Lemonelli? Herald 4? Okay. And looks like we got a up to Guardian here. So hard to tell who's going to be in your lane. I mean, I know we already know it's going to be Razor and Ogre Magi. If I was playing this, I mean, I would have guessed like maybe Razor, Rubik. But I think at this rank, you never really know what you're gonna get. Kind of the fun of it. So for your item build, I think it's overall safe, especially because you don't know who you're gonna be laning against.
30 seconds to showtime.
All right. I'd poke him a little bit. Yeah. What just happened there? Probably went up too far a little bit. So right here, I think this is okay to poke right now. So like here, poke a little bit, poke. I don't know if I would have committed a poison touch to him. Ogre has pretty high armor, so like there's that. But also take a look at the time. It's still 20 seconds, and poison touch has a really long cooldown. So if you use it on him right now, he's gonna do what he did, and he's just gonna walk away. And then by the time the rune spawns, you're still not gonna have poison touch ready. So if you wait for the rune to spawn though, and then he's like standing here, he needs to be here to get the rune. Then you cast poison touch on him, he's forced to still be in this area for like another second or two before he can run away. And so you're more likely to get a little bit more value out of poison touch. And then establish ahead of time. Ogre Magi and Razor, definitely not a combo you want to play against or contest for the rune. Like if they're both here and you're both here, it's a losing trade for you. So I think you probably stayed around too long. Once you lose sight of Ogre, I would run away again. And then they end up just killing you, yeah. Yeah, it looks like you panicked the south to try to get it. No big deal. I mean, it obviously is not ideal. I'm not going to like sweat it. You already know that you probably shouldn't have used it there. And just to be clear, if that happens to you, I would just die and just teleport back to the lane, have the salve. I think surviving there, like using the salve to survive there, I don't know if it would be worth it. You would have had to run all the way home and then TP back to lane, and you'd honestly be late to the lane at that point. If you got away and then salved so that you could stay in the lane, sure. But I think using it in the off chance to survive is probably not worth the risk. Okay, Ogre warded. I wonder if you'll know. I don't think we checked his items earlier. Maybe you did. I kind of already forget. Speed up a little bit. I think I just want to focus on the lane, mostly. So we'll not worry about too much about the rest of the game. I just kind of want to focus on how you play this out. Right now, I think that okay, so right now, I have no idea if this is a good pull or not because I haven't seen the lane. Because we're just watching from your perspective, which means you haven't seen the lane either. So right now, I think it's really important. So body blocking this, I think that's pretty good. But it's really important to like check how the lane is going. So, okay, I see now the lane is fairly balanced. It's a little further out than Wind Ranger would like it because if we... So if you see this, this pretty much defines where Ogre can run up to. And so she doesn't like this because, you know, for her to get last hit, she has to stand about where the range creep is. And that means Ogre can stand here and hit her. So if this was balanced a little closer, that would be more ideal. Of course, you haven't been in the lane yet, so not really much you can do about that. But still, this is fairly balanced. So if you want to pull, you see this camp. This one can do It's not kobolds, so it'll kill things. But it has to be a half pull. And I can tell it needs to be a half pull based on this, where what's going to happen here, I would assume, is that these creeps are going to die. These four, where are they? These four are going to rush under the tower. And then Wind Rangers, they probably are not going to die for her. I assume that won't happen at this level quite yet. So they're probably just going to like stand outside, maybe come contest your pull. And she's going to keep the creeps on her tower. This full creep wave will kill this camp and then run back under here. But that creep wave will be dead. And then all your creeps will push. And then the next creep wave that hasn't spawned yet, at that point, they will be pushing up. They'll probably be about right here or something. And then your lane is going to push up. And if your lane pushes against Ogre and Razor, it's going to be awful. Because Wind Ranger cannot... Like, her poking to Ogre does nothing. Your Poison Touch does nothing to Ogre because he has such high armor. And, like, you can't actually have extended trades with Razor because of Static Link. So it's really important not to push your lane. And now... So that's what I think should happen. And I'm pretty confident that will happen. So now you kind of, like, check the lane. But it's like, if it was a good time to pull or not, it's a little too late. I would attack this creep as soon as it gets below half. Just start attacking creeps. I think it's actually more important to make sure that you deny creeps out of XP range of the enemy more than it is for you to get last hits. So if you have the choice, I mean, if there's a chance to get a last hit, go for it. But don't stand there too long waiting for that. And the more you play, the more you'll realize like how much time you have to auto attack other stuff. But definitely look to try to get these denied as quickly as possible. You might die here. I would guess you do. Funny enough, this might Okay, so that's why I said this is what I think will happen. And then you never know when stuff like this will happen. So they end up killing you and then aggroing the creeps. And because of that, a lot of the creeps take damage. So now your lane is probably still going to push, but it won't push as badly. Because, for example, I doubt she may not do it, but I think Wind Ranger should kill this creep really quickly right now. And then you have two other creeps close to deny range. This one's close to... Okay, these can be denied right now. I think this guy can. Yeah. And then this one is very close to being deniable. So this lane is salvageable. Except that they're kind of under the tower right now. Yeah, so it'll still push, but it's not as bad as it would have been. Except she's not killing the range creep, so it is still going to push like somewhat heavily. But a lot of this could have been avoided if you did a half pull instead. I probably should have asked if you meant to do a half pull or not, but by the timing you hit it, I kind of think that you meant to pull the whole wave. I don't feel too bad about that because there's another replay I have queued up to do, and I was looking at it. That's pretty high level. And then he also did a full pull wave one that I thought was bad. So trust me, it happens all the way up to Divine. And that's sneak peek. One of the things I'm gonna do with Alex this weekend that I hope you guys will benefit from. We're gonna be looking at polls, and I'm gonna ask him, and in theory, ask you guys, like, answer it for yourselves. Do you think this is a good pull or not? And we're gonna do a lot of like case studies on pulling. And I think if you can identify when it is good to do a pull and what kind you get, then it makes hard supporting a lot easier. I would say that's how I win most of my lanes, is like through pulls. So this is the super bad right now. The Wind Ranger's back here, you're back here, and the lane's up here, still pushing in. This is pushing so heavily that you might be able to attempt... Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say what you can try to do to fix this is do a full pull into a connected pull. Because this is such a large wave that they're going to be here for a long time. She's farming the small camp, though. Which means I guess you can try to do a hard camp pull directly, which is not as ideal because not only does it take longer to get to, but Like it's a small time difference, right? So you hit this one at like 17, let's say, or it would have been 47. You pull here, you come here, creeps are fighting by 53. If you attempt this pull, the timing is actually just about the same, where you hit it at 47, walk through, stand here. But then because they have to run back longer, they're not fighting for like 2 or 3 more seconds. What if you do this pull? Then you have to wait even longer. I think it's like 53. Honestly, I kind of forget this timing. I kind of forget this one and this one. For some reason, I remember like every other one, but I'm kind of shady on these. I think it's like 53. Hit this 53, you run up, stand here. By the time they get back, though, it's like almost 2 minutes at that point. So it sounds like a very minimal difference of a couple seconds. But the way this is pushing, these are going to be under the tower. And every second, this is hitting creeps. And they're all going to die off a lot sooner than, if they were balanced out here. And so all these like small time differences does add up. And so having to do a hard pull just means that it's more likely all these creeps will die and the lane will start pushing under your own tower, which means you won't get to complete the pull and you'll get zoned away. And that's why like doing a small pull is so much better, because it starts sooner and everything gets back to the lane sooner. And doing the connected pull is also like okay, because they take some damage here and then they continue and die off to these creeps, hopefully. But doing a direct hard pull, like sometimes it's fine, but sometimes it can be bad too. In this case, you're not quite in position to do a hard pull anyways. I don't mind you sapping XP if Wind Ranger's farming the small camp. I think right now you could be standing... Oops. So if Wind Ranger wants to be back there, I think you could continue to stand like in the trees, on the edge. In these trees is probably a little safer. Or like on the edge a little bit. And try to sap some of this XP. But she is here now. And looks like you're going to go do a pull, which I think is good. I'm going to guess this is another full pull. Let me refresh my memory. I think this one will also not be great. Here's what I think will happen. These creeps are going to walk into the tower chasing Ogre. So the tower is going to kill this one. Then the tower is going to kill this one. And then whether this one enters the tower or not, these creeps will kill that one really quickly. And then these 4 creeps will start to walk all the way down here. And in that time, I think this pull will almost be done. And then your creeps will return to lane, but it'll be under tower, I think, is where they'll meet. So let's see. Okay, this is really good. This might actually save the whole thing. Kill this range creep right now. I don't know how to do this consistently, but like sometimes the creeps will focus your range creep, and sometimes they'll focus other things when you pull. I should try to look more into it and figure out how it works. But if you can ever get the creeps to damage the range creep, instantly kill it off. This guy does the most damage to the creeps because his attack type is different. It's nowhere in the game for you to find. But if you look at the wiki, his attack type is different. And so if you kill the range creep, that would change it. All these creeps could actually die. Maybe not all of them. Probably one would survive. Oh, there we go. So it could have happened a little sooner, but you still get it. So now you see, hey, look at that. They are now about to walk under tower. And like we said, the pull is just about done, which means by the time these guys walk back under tower, this creep wave will be mostly dead. But fortunately, your range creep did die first, because otherwise this pull would be done and your creeps would already be like right here. And that would be a little worse for you. Them aggroing these creeps is actually kind of good. All right, I think I may have. Let's see. When did you hit level 2? As Dazzle, I try to hold the second point because I think Poison Touch is really good level 1. And then I try to hold the second point to see if I need it for Shallow Grave. Because sometimes, especially in this lane where like it looks like they're diving you, right? Here's an exact... They're literally diving you right here. And they expect to kill you right here. And so they think, okay, let's dive and we'll get the kill. If you have Grave, you suddenly buy yourself 5 more seconds. And then they're like, do we commit to this? Or, like, do we back off? And in that time, they're going to take more damage than they expected. Maybe you survive. Maybe they commit. They kill you. But then they probably die too. Because at this point of the game, being under the tower for, like, a couple seconds is kind of a big deal. So, like, this heal helps a bit. But I also think being able to stand here and just use Grave would have been very similar. Turns out you're actually going to live. Ooh, very close. But sometimes I do like having a Grave for that. And it's also hard to use Shadow Wave without accidentally pushing the wave. So that's kind of why I like the level 2, or saving the point and seeing what you need. And in this case, it did kind of work out, so. I'm going to go back to eating candy corn. Don't really need to heal her because she's TPing home. So I would just save the mana. I mean, it heals you too, I know, but you've got the Tangas. If we take a look at the lane, I think you're about to do it, actually. So see, it did end up pushing. Even though they dove and all that, kind of distracted some of the creeps a little bit, the end result is that we are pushing again. And it would have been a little heavier too, because that range creep often survives. In this case, it died. So I think half pulling. I'm actually very close to the point where I think I should just tell you guys. I don't know where it should end, but I think I should just tell you guys to, like, always do half pulls. I just think it, like, works out better a lot of the time than a full pull. And a lot of the time, full pulls lead to the lane pushing too hard. Because you need the carry to, like, coordinate on a full pull, and they don't know how to do it. I know it's unprofessional to eat candy corn while recording. I can't help myself. Okay. See, right now you're not really doing anything, and I don't blame you. Because the lane is in a really awkward position, right? Where your creeps are out here, so you feel like, oh, if I walk out here, I might die. I'll go pull, but then Wind Ranger's farming the camps for whatever reason. And she doesn't want to be out here because it's too far up. It's really scary. And this all comes back down to, like, the pulls, where because it's pushed out, it's made, like, this is already a tough lane. And the pulls have ended up making it, like, even harder when it's out here. So that's why understanding pull camps is, like, so important. And I didn't realize how important it was, but now I kind of am, where pulling is something people need to do, but it can very easily lead to, like, the if that had shackle, that's probably a kill. It can very easily lead to the lane going far worse than, like, not pulling at all. And so I think I do want to. I'm doing several shout out to it again. We're gonna make several videos with different topics, but I think the one that I will revisit repeatedly is pulling. And so, like, we'll do a couple with Alex, but then maybe we'll do some other coaching with, like, some of you guys where we'll do this. Did she just block her own camp? Maybe not. It kind of looked like she did, but I guess we can see that it's this ward. But we'll come back to the idea of pulling, and I'll just, like, I haven't fully decided how to do it, but it's just like, I'm going to show you guys a situation. I'm going to ask you to justify should you pull or not. Because I think it's really important as a support to be able to quickly identify, is this a time to pull or not?
A moment of silence.
All right, let's check out what you bought. Boots. Yeah, I don't mind boots. It helps you keep your distance. And, I mean, you're never fighting them directly, right? So you're just going to be pulling and running back and forth a lot. And that's where it can be good. If I end up getting a second point in Shadow Wave at level 2, sometimes I'll hold my third point instead of putting in Poison Touch and wait to see if I need it in Shallow Grave. And wait to see if, like, okay, we're going to cast Poison Touch and play aggressive. Then maybe I'll get the second point in Poison Touch. I'm eating more candy corn, I'm sorry.
Someone took out the Radiant's courier.
I think you've had several of the wards up here. Which means... Okay, another one's about to come into stock. But it does mean if you use too many wards up here and they get dewarded, it puts you in a tough spot where...
The Dire might want to mine their top tower.
I mean, you keep using them top, which means they're nowhere else on the map. So sometimes you have to decide, like, should you leave it in stock for someone else to use? Yeah, so that one's still blocked. Or is it actually? Or was it just, Oh no, you guys just deblocked. You undid one and she did one. So it should be up. I would have done a half pull here. You guys can fight that guy. You see Razor all the way over here. I mean, now he's running in, but at the time you only saw him. Wind Ranger, please stop killing this camp. Go get the creeps. I'll let her die. She'll be fine. Oh, just kidding. Even if she's not gonna fight, like, I thought she was fine because she had Wind Run. Whether she lives or dies, you'll never get there in time. Unless you TP here, which I don't think is worth it. I would just let her live or die and just be here for all this XP. Push it out a bit. That's fair. Getting one more ward for Wind Ranger to make sure she's safe. Which I can't really say is wrong. So if you do plan to rotate, then I'm okay with putting the ward here. If you plan to keep playing in the lane, though, then maybe I wouldn't take this and I would leave it for someone else. But yeah, if you're planning to rotate, I think it's okay. Oh, let's go back to your perspective. This Razor just walks under the tower. What a guy. Nice. Oh, Zeus? Oh, Zeus is on your team. I thought he was on the enemy team. All right, I finished all my candy corn.
Dyer's mid-tower's having technical difficulties.
For your items. Physical. Blood loss amplifies physical. Mix damage, physical and magic, but he's going to steal a lot of physical damage. These two are some of the... I mean, this is the carry and the mid, right? So those are big concerns in the immediate future. So I'm thinking like some kind of armor item would be nice. But actually, you don't really have anyone that scales with it. If you had a more traditional carry, I might consider a medallion first here. Just because medallion's really good to protect anyone like PA or TA, go on, and even Razor. Like when Razor links someone, you medallion them, you help protect them. Because you don't have a typical carry, though, yeah, it doesn't really make much sense, I guess. I mean, it still makes sense, but it's like not as good. So I think Force Staff is good against Razor. But you're still gonna get like shredded by PA and TA if they like blink on you. That's probably still the best option. You skip arcanes for it? Probably not. Yeah, I guess I'm okay with it. I'll be very careful about this. I think a better TA player may have just tried to kill you right there. Even though you do have Grave, I think a good TA player may have still gone for it. Oh, here we go. Alright, good TP out. If you know you're about to TP out Grave and all that, just throw out all your spells because they are going to be refreshed, essentially, over time. And, like, the mana cost is not an issue because you're coming back to Fountain to heal up. So, like, throw the Poison Touch on her. Maybe Shadow Wave near her if there are creeps on top of her or something. And then, yeah. So you ended up having to Shallow Grave TP out because otherwise she would have killed you. So good on you, but also bad for coming out a little too far and opening that up. So anytime you see... Like, that's a big level difference. You're 4 and she's 9. You're, like, free kill for her. So if she's here and you're literally anywhere over here, if she puts her ult down and slows you, I think she'll just kill you. So in those cases, you just have to play like really carefully and just absorb XP. But that's just kind of like a learning experience. You did get out. It does mean we had to use 90 gold on the TP, and this cooldown is kind of long.
Towers getting the business.
So the more often we have to buy teleports, naturally the poorer we're going to be. Cool, Rubik kill. I didn't quite see why you walked back top, actually. Let's see. XP range is 1500. Yes. I'm pretty confident it's 1500. Wards are 1400. So like is it 1400? I swear we did this before. Someone else asked, and I swear it was like it ended up being slightly longer than an observer ward. And so because observer wards are 1400 and I was pretty sure it was 1500. Someone check. But that would put it like right here. And if it's 1400, then it's like right here from here. So if this was your hero, it's like right around there. So if you think about it, if this is like the center of your screen, it's kind of like whatever is in vision is XP range, except for like these far corners. And then obviously like down this bottom screen is within XP range, but of course it goes further than that. So it looks like you're just kind of like walking up here. I don't know if you guys were communicating. Maybe you were thinking about defending it. How's your team doing? It is a bit of an awkward game. I kind of think... I mean, I usually say going bottom is the play. I'm trying to keep an open mind and reevaluate because this game is a little weird. And like a lot of games at these ranks seem to be like weirder. I kind of feel like bottom. But the issue is you don't have a real carry. So that's why it's like hard to formulate a plan. Usually the plan is like make space for the carry, go bottom. But then she's not really a carry. So then maybe it's okay to play with her and try to get kills because, you know, she doesn't farm in the traditional sense. So it's a little weird. But I do think you want to look to, at the least, I think you want to look to do something with one of the other heroes, if not both. And then like Zeus can participate by ulting and getting a free kill that way. And you did end up coming back to, looks like mid with these guys. You might pass your tango off to one of them. They were both at half health. Maybe pass a tango off and heal. Maybe, guys? Oh, some free last hits here. Yeah, next goal is to try to hit 60. I don't know what just happened. He just, like, dove her by himself or something. He's swearing. I don't recall turning the sensor on, but perhaps it's a good thing that it is on.
Guess what's happening? Guess what's happening to Dyer's bottom tower?
I'm glad you're remembering to like shallow grave TP out instead of just like dying and feeding. The next step though is to recognize your positioning so that you don't get forced into a situation where you have to shallow grave and TP out. Because every time you do this, Shallow Grave is going on cooldown for 60 seconds because it's still level 1. And teleports are 90 gold. And your passive... Did we change it? Oh, it's been changed so many times. I'm pretty sure the passive gold is 90 GPM right now too. So every time you teleport, that's like a minute of your passive gold that is like not building up. So the more you can realize that like, if I walk this way, I could just die, and he'll run at me. Although, to be honest, I would have thought running this way may have been safe. I may have risked it myself. So in this case, I don't fully blame you. You didn't quite see him run in that like that. I think. Yeah, maybe you did because of the tower. Let me watch your perspective one more time. Yeah. So from here, seeing him walk in this way, I would be very scared, and I would like back out again. Even back like a further second, we see him turn around here. That is when I'm like, okay, maybe I turn around this way, or cut down in this path instead of like walking this way. It's like a very small difference, but walking this way versus walking this way, like maybe that saves your life, because if you keep walking this way, he has to run around the trees to chase you. Thinking I was wasting a lot of gold. Yeah, and it feels like not a waste because like you're surviving, but it is costing you money. And so the more you can like avoid that. Why is she so tiny? Am I crazy? Does she not look like super tiny? Must be a bug. The more you can avoid stuff like that, the better. So having 1 point in all your spells is really solid. I often like to max out Poison Touch. However, Poison Touch is a very aggressive spell, and if you're not getting, if you're not playing aggressive, then Poison Touch loses a lot of value. And so in this game that has not been going the best for you, I would probably leave Poison Touch at 2 points and start to max out either Shallow Grave or Shadow Wave. The Grave cooldown and the increased cast range is just really strong. And then Shadow Wave lets you push out waves a little better. But usually as a position 5, that's not quite what you... Okay, that's not true. Sometimes it's what you want to do, sometimes it's not. So that's why you have to identify, is this something I want to do? Then I might level Shadow Wave. If you think fights are still happening, but like your damage is not going to change the fight, then that's when I think maxing Shallow Grave first can be really nice. I think that's what we did in the Dazzle game I played earlier. And it was kind of because things were not going well. That might be a time where I just Shallow Grave and walk, because I know that 2 of the heroes can cancel Grave if they're nearby. Because again, it's a 90 gold you attempted to use, and it didn't work this time. And so like just dying would have been cheaper.
You are dead. Dead.
It's hard to quickly realize like, am I gonna make it or not? But that's kind of why I do want to point it out. It's very easy to get in the habit of like always thinking I'm gonna Shallow Grave TP out anytime there's trouble. But I want to encourage like preemptive thinking of like, okay, I'm not going to get into this position. Or like something I'm like working on is like I default when I panic TP to survive. I always TP to Fountain, Alt tab or Spacebar tab to TP home immediately. But really I need to like get in the habit of like considering how healthy I am and like where there's farm, and then to like TP T2 top or bottom or whatever to be more efficient. But I've already built up that habit of like always pressing teleport home right away, and so it's hard to change. And so that's why I kind of like want to point it out early for you. Now there's like stuff going on top which you aren't taking a look at. I don't know if you could have made a difference, but I see it happening on the minimap.
Wait for it.
Let's go look. Hey, you know, like Tiny's TPing up here. I think this is probably something worth joining in on. You had the position 5. So if you had TP'd up here, you probably get to cast Poison Touch on her, which would quickly break through these refraction charges, not to mention it damages her. Definitely looks like she would have died, and maybe you grave or heal your teammates. So this is something you could have impacted. Yeah, I didn't realize they cancel. Yeah. Something that can be very helpful to do at the start of the game. Take a look at the heroes and just tell yourself who can cancel TPs or not. Even though it's obvious, right? Like looking at it, like you can very easily say, okay, this guy and this guy. But I think it does help later to know that like you're in the fight, you see Ogre, And then because you've already established it earlier, you kind of just know, like, oh, he can cancel TPs. I should just die. Okay, let's come back to you. So you were pushing mid. I think this is like... I think it's a good idea to push mid. And maybe just... I might just, like, quickly heal, Q it, and then TP top. But actually, you could have TP top, like, sooner. So, like, right here, it already looks like you could teleport. Like, once you grab that, I might then go to T... Okay, there we go. Now, I might start teleporting top right now. How do you know? On who can cancel teleports?
Got it.
If it's on who can cancel teleports, it's anyone with a stun, root, mini stun. Mini stun would be like Zeus. Does it say on here? So this one happens to say it. I don't know if they all say it, but like you can interrupt channeling spells and items with this ability. So even though lightning bolt technically doesn't stun you for very long, it's enough to cancel teleports. Something like shackle shot, that's a much more obvious stun. Anything that stuns will cancel teleports. Like avalanche. Oh, forced positioning. Okay, some of the stuff. Oh, it's kind of complicated, actually, isn't it? Come to think about it, I'm actually not sure if toss cancels. I think it does. Does it? Am I crazy? Chat. Does toss cancel teleport? Other things include like bounty hunter, shuriken. There's like some random stuff that will his ult, snowball. So like in this game, it is ogre stun, and Rubik lift. Later, TA at 25, she gets a bash talent, so then she can cancel teleports as well. Tusk, he can cancel with snowball and ult. Wind Ranger with shackle shot. Tiny with avalanche and maybe toss. For some reason, I'm forgetting right now. And Zeus with lightning bolt or Nimbus, because Nimbus applies lightning bolt, and you can't. But then you also have to like update it as the game goes and realize like, oh, this person bought Yules, or this guy got a bash, skull basher.
You know the drill.
Yeah, so this is a fight I think you could have come top, and we could have changed the impact of.
The dire might want to mine.
Keep going, keep going. They're still top, so I think you can come out here just a little bit longer. You could have walked out, cast Q, cast E, probably kills off the wave pretty quickly. They all push in, and then your catapult. Like you have a good amount of creeps, so if you get these killed off, then the catapult gets to start hitting the tower.
Dire's top tower's getting beat down.
Guys, hang on. I'm checking the wiki. Okay, it does. It does cancel the teleports. Some force movement doesn't, like Force Staff, which is why it's a little weird. Alright, back to the game. I don't think we missed anything, so we're not even going to go back. So you're dewarding, but I see multiple things happening here. So that's something you want to check, if you can. It looks like your team's fine without you doing anything, but it's still a good habit to develop. Okay, all four just TP'd mid. So you should let your team know. They should push top. They should push bottom. So like these heroes right now farming the jungle, at least one of them should stop and go into the wave. And then bottom, Farming... What is he doing? He's farming Ancients. That's wild. As a Tusk. But he should also go shove bottom. Okay, watching the minimap, I see them all go top. So now I'm definitely telling, okay, someone go bottom. And wait to see them again. You do have a ward here and here. If you see them up here, then you go mid right now and push that in. Okay, looks like you're going bottom. That's okay. And I think Tusk should go bottom. Okay, we don't want to go here. PA's here. Get out. I don't know if you hear the noises or if you see like the creeps dying randomly, but that means she's there with Blur. I see them all top right now, so I want to shove this as quickly as you can. I think casting your spells is worth it right here. At least using Shadow Wave, maybe even the Q. But then if you get a chance, you know, set yourself to like auto attack, give an attack command, and then that'll let you push by hitting things, and then come up here and look and see if this is a fight that you can come help with. Looks like it may not be one, because Tiny's just dead, so it looks like your team's just going to get out. So I think now is a great chance to just shove this in really quickly. Okay, it looks like you did cast a spell to start going a little faster. I'd be a little careful. I'd let the creeps go in first, because we did see PA earlier. And thinking about that idea, like, I don't want to be forced to shallow grave and TP home. So I let the creeps walk in first, wait a little bit, maybe cast my spell from far away, and see if, like, PA shows. Cool. Oops. A little far out. Alright. I know it's a lot going on, especially because you're newer to Dota. If you can, try to, even in as stuff is happening, check the minimap. Because I see 3 heroes up here. And even if you don't check the minimap, if you play with a lot of sounds on, and you can kind of tell like what direction they're coming from, you can hear, like right now I can hear Razor is zapping someone from up here. That would let you know the enemy is still close, and I need to be scared of this top half. And then, like, you're still walking out this way, which I think tells me that I don't think you realize there's so many heroes up here. Because this is kind of out of position. If you want to walk anywhere, it would be, like, this way or, like, this way. But, like, you come out too far, and that's kind of why you now enter this, like, scary position where you're now kind of walking in. Maybe your team is saying, like, let's go on them. But you don't want to approach this way. Like, Dazzle's job is to grave people and heal from the back. So you never really want to be the frontliner. You kind of want to be like back here with these guys in the front. Usually they don't want to be the frontliners either, but when you have Grave, it's kind of like a little bit more okay. I don't think you had to Grave yet. Yeah, so Zeus just dies now because you don't have Grave. So that's just a, you know, get used to it. Get a feel for, am I likely to die here? Just that ogre hitting you, unlikely to kill you. And then you would still have Grave to save yourself. Another case, very, very risky to walk up here to do this. I think that's definitely a case where she could throw Trap down to slow you, and then Ogre walks up, slows you, and then stuns. So you want to be careful of that. In this case, they didn't go on you, but very easily could have been another death.
No breaking down the radiant structures like this. Radiant's bottom tower.
3 heroes top. 2 heroes bottom. Actually, I don't know if we were supposed to see the one here. That might have been a bug. But I definitely think once you see 3 heroes top on the minimap, it's time to go mid or bottom. And if you don't see them, it's really hard to know that's what you're supposed to do. That's why map awareness is so important. Like, you can't make the correct decisions if you don't gather the information. So even if you lose games, I highly recommend spending a lot of time. I guess it varies person to person. whatever needs to be done to develop map awareness, whether that's like literally spending a lot of time just looking at the minimap, or like carry players will sometimes like every last hit I take a look at the minimap. For me, I just try to glance as much as I can at it, but it's hard to make correct decisions as a support if you don't have the information. And so now I know, like, okay, I see a bunch of heroes here. Should go bottom, should go top. If we're trying to, like, split push the map, which we kind of are, because we are... I guess you're not, like, super behind, but it is still a very rough game. And if you're looking to, like, extend the game, then you don't want to take head-on fights. Though maybe your team's strong enough to do so. Okay, mid tower down. Time to get bottom or top. Where are you right now? Mid. This whole time I'm just looking at the minimap. I don't know if, like, I know my camera's tiny, and people probably don't even focus on me, but a lot of the times I'm just like looking at the minimap. It's kind of harder in a replay analysis because I'm not the one moving the hero. Eventually you get the sense of like where your hero is without watching him all the time. So if you're just moving top, you can then like look at the minimap for an extended period of time and not really worry about it, or like set yourself to auto attack creeps and then look at the minimap. That's one of the hard things to get from watching streams. It's not always clear what the streamer's doing. If you're watching a high-level streamer, though, a lot of the time, they're probably looking at a minimap. Like, right now, there's a whole fight going on, but you're not taking a look. So I know you're not watching it. Because even if you don't plan to go, you should still take a look to see what's there. And to know, okay, I saw, like, 4 heroes there. You can actually be pushing mid right now. You don't have to be like all the way back here. This mid lane could be in their tier 2 right now, and that would force someone back. And I think now you become aware that like the fight's going on, and so you like walk up. But in that time, like this, you could have farmed like that whole creep wave and push it into the mid tower to start getting some damage. And you even have the catapult here, so this would have been a decent chunk of damage. Maybe half of it, maybe only like a third. Depends how soon someone rotates, I suppose. But if you force someone to rotate, that means they have to give up on the fight.
Radiant's bottom tower.
I still see a bunch of them top. There we go. Yeah, shove in mid. Our catapult still alive. We can still do this. No, keep going. Okay, well, they just disappeared because they got the tower. What I might do in your position, I might go like hide over here a little bit and wait to see if people show. And in this view, we can see that there are still 4 top. But what you might see... In fact, let's just watch. Let's see what happens. Okay, now someone shows mid. So if I was hiding in the trees and someone shows mid, I would now walk away. Oops. Yeah, you kind of wanted to save him. I can see what happened there. But then he like snowballed away, became awkward.
That mid tower. The Dire best do something about that bottom tower. Guess what's happening, Dire?
The old dive T3. Woo! Close. Okay, okay. All right. They just threw really hard on high ground. A classic. There you go. Nice. Draw the line. Tell your team. Let's go. Let's get down here. Go push buildings. No one's doing it, but you are, so that's good. Okay, Wind Ranger's going to Roche. That's okay, too. Mechanism, I think, is solid. It's an armor item. And you really benefit from the low cooldown. Really good. You may have helped them with Roshan. I guess it's okay. They got it anyways. But your stuff does like heal them up and affect Roshan a bit, so it can speed it up if you're over there to help.
Selfish.
Radiant's top tower's in bad shape.
You guys are smoked up. Look at their minimap. 3 and 4. See what you guys are trying to do. I don't know what you guys are talking about right now in the game. But right now, like on the minimap, I see 2 heroes here. Illusion Rune, not that important. I might bait it out. Wait to see if one of them comes to get it. Kind of like this Rubik is right now. And then you guys like kill whoever comes here right away. Ends up being a bit of an awkward smoke. The timing was honestly, it was a little weird because you didn't quite, like if we, let's go back. Alright, so on the minimap right now, 3, 1, 1. Oh no, that one, never mind.
Radiant's top tower.
You guys shouldn't have seen that. Alright, we smoked. 3 up here, 1 here. There's a high chance PA is in this area, because it's very uncommon to have all 5 heroes, right, all together in the same half of the map. But you don't have a full guarantee. So I think right now it would be okay to like go into their jungle to look for the PA. Maybe even, oh, Zeus doesn't have his ult yet. Almost. You could use Zeus ult to scout for who you need to go to since you guys don't have wards. But like if you run down here, I think this is okay because you have 2 options here. You run down here, maybe you find PA, you kill her alone. You don't find PA, you get the chance to play some deep wards in their jungle, and then looks like bottom might be pushing in your favor. Ever so slightly, bottom is pushing in your favor. So you place deep wards, and then you guys go bottom and get this tower. If they come to fight you, you have vision, so you have a better chance of taking a good fight. Going top with this smoke is a little awkward because you're going to run into 4 of them. So it'll be a 5-on-4 and then PATB's in, right? That's not like greatest. Finding PA and killing her 5-on-1, and if they want to rotate, they have to bring 4 heroes down and they all spend 90 gold on their teleports and then the cooldown. Like, that's pretty nice. Let's see what your neutral items are. Your team's still missing the remaining tier 3, so that'd be good to grab. In the meantime, Shovel is fine on Dazzle. Alright. Telescope, really solid. If you're not going to carry it, one of your teammates... I'm sorry, switch that. If one of your teammates isn't going to carry it, you should carry it. So, like, I think it's pretty decent on Zeus. But if Zeus doesn't want to hold it, and I don't really think he should be the one. I kind of think he should get this quickening charm. Then you could carry the telescope, and that's really nice. This helps you cast your Gray from further away, and it gives everyone else more attack range and cast range, which Zeus loves. So I would take telescope on Dazzle right now. And then maybe backpack the trusty shovel, or if you just put it away, like that's not the end of the world either. You guys do have the Aegis still, right? Yeah, so now is a fine time to fight if you want, but you should have the whole team together. I think you guys also have your scan, so when you smoked, you probably could have scanned. Gotta keep your... Okay, there we go. Now we're looking at the fight. There we go, mech. Heal up. Yeah, don't be afraid to just throw this out on one hero in the middle of a fight. Because every time you cast a spell, you're reducing people in the area's armor. So even if your team is pretty healthy, you can throw this out. It's a very low cooldown. And just start to like reduce the enemy's armor. And this like does some damage and heals, you know?
Radiant structures now. Dire structures looking for fortified.
All right, looks like we should get a tier 2.
Trouble brewing at
Maybe
Radiant's
2 of them.
bottom tower.
So the team's a little split up. Usually casting both of these is unnecessary to kill a creep wave. This is usually enough to do a lot of damage. And then don't forget, these guys are nearby. So he's going to cast like 1 arc lightning. Just because this is 140 mana. And like you have a lot of mana, so it's not a big deal right now. But maybe it will add up. You know, if every time you're farming a creep wave, you're spending 260 mana each time, when really maybe you just cast Shadow Wave twice. That's 240 mana. You're shaving off 20 mana there. Or maybe you just do a couple auto attacks and then use Shadow Wave. Kind of looking for small ways to save mana here and there. Can build up into a big deal. Oh, it's so low. Was that an accident? I don't think he meant to force that in. Whoops. All right, I do think that tower probably should have been... should have been able to get that tower. But I think the team got a little distracted, split up. Please kill this Razor. Yeah, so now when you're dead, it's good that you're keeping an eye on like the fight. And then the hard part is doing it while you're alive too. But that is something we want to eventually reach. Are we on you, or why does it select Wind Ranger? Kind of wonky. You can just sell this Tango at this point too. Taking up the slot in your backpack is like more of a hassle. You can just get like 15 gold back, clear it out. All right, I think you guys can make a push mid. It'll be real fast. That tower is almost dead. Just like walk in, hit it a couple times. Your team just gets 1,000 gold. A little less, I guess. But you know, it's like pretty good. But the enemy could deny it at any point if they're paying attention. Walking a little too close. Don't forget you've got a pretty long range. What are your talents? I think the cast range is a lot better for the level 15. Just because your main job is to brave people. And the further away you can do that, the better. I just don't feel like the heal, 30 heal is like that big of a deal. Unless you have a hero like PL maybe, because you can do the Shadow Wave Bomb a little better, where PL has like 30 illusions around one hero, and then that way you guarantee that every single heal wave is hitting an enemy, then that's pretty good. But I think in general, the cast range talent is just really nice to stay further back and to cast Grave. And then level 10, I don't mind the 50 damage. I think 1.75 mana is also decent. But if you have Arcane Boots, then you kind of don't need the mana. So in that case, the damage is like fine. Let's see, what was the last neutral items you guys got? Yeah, so I think Telescope right now would be really good. If you had Telescope plus, like just to show you. So Telescope gives you another 125, and then this is 150, so that's 275. And your current cast range is like this at 1,000, and then you'd be able to cast like even further out here. Actually, it's even further. It's like here, I think. And that's just pretty sick. Hey, Sweet Nausea, what's up? Yeah, like, so when there's so many heroes here, I think just casting Shadow Wave is enough. Also, this is really aggressive positioning. So with with the cast range challenge with the Telescope, you can cast Shadow Wave from like all the way back here, and you don't have to risk your life way up here. And if you're not in danger, that means you don't have to use the Force Staff, because I'm guessing you like got a little scared, you Force Staff yourself away. We can avoid all that by keeping your distance. just try to remind yourself, like, Dazzle is a backline support, so it's important not to go in too close. All this whole fight is happening, by the way. So right around now, I can hear Link going on, even if I'm not watching the minimap. I know someone is being linked. And it's really important to look, because your whole thing is saving people. So right now, to check, and like, okay, do I need to heal this guy? Yeah, he still looks fairly healthy. Okay, now's probably the time to try to cast Grave. And you're not quite in position yet because you weren't following the fight. And now you kind of see stuff going on, so now you're trying to keep a closer eye. Oh, look at it. It's such a low cooldown. It feels so good. So much digging. Like right now, if I were you, I'd probably be where the Zeus is. In fact, I'd be a little behind Zeus, because Zeus is one of the people I'd consider saving. The main people I'll save are Wind Ranger and Zeus in this game. And maybe Tusk. You're kind of in the front, right? So if the enemy comes to fight you, who's the first person they're going to run into? They're going to run into you. And you want to be the last person that they run into. You know why she's hitting you instead of Zeus? Because if she hits Zeus, you'll grave him. So she has to kill you first. If you stand back and they don't know where you are, then they're miserable. Because they want to kill the Zeus and they'll try, but you'll heal him. Or you'll grave him. So they always have to look for you. That's why like cast range is so good on you, because you can stand further and further back. Dude, I have not been able to play recently either. You just missed me lose like every single game. I think I lost 2 games earlier, and then I think I lost another 4 today. So it's a bit of a warm up to get back into Dota after not playing for a while. Mine was only 9 days. You're gonna go through a losing streak. Nah, some people have an easier time than I do. Plus, I could have played unranked or something, right? Rip. You wanna... Okay. So pushing this wave is fine. But because they're all missing, you want to be very careful. Walk in these trees. You'll be out of sight. So right now, they can see you. And any hero in the area who can kill you. At least the 3 cores could kill you. If nothing else, they'll at least force you to shallow grave and TP out. And then if one of the supports are nearby, they'll cancel that and then they'll kill you. Both unideal. So stand in the trees, because at least you're in range for XP. You can wait a second, see if anyone shows up. And if no one, then you can cast Shadow Wave. Shadow Wave, Shadow Grave. It's so hard to keep it in order. You'll cast Shadow Wave from the side with your increased cast range from the talent and the telescope, and you'll get all this farm, and you won't die like so, because you'll be in the trees. If I'm doing really well and getting kills, then I like to take the left talent for 20, the damage. And if I am losing and struggling, then I like to take the 30 move speed, because 30 is a lot, and it goes back to that idea. It lets you stay further back and then run in when needed. You buy another item? I think we've got like 10 more minutes of this game. You're at 2,000. What could you buy? I'm still kind of open to Medallion, because Tusk is going like some one punch build. So helping him reduce armor even further could be good. It also benefits like your Wind Ranger, whoever she focus fires, you cast a Medallion on. Or you can use it defensively. And like whoever they go on, you cast it on. And in fact, because you're Dazzle, you can do both. You can... The cooldown is reduced enough where you can repeatedly cast it on different people. And use it both defensively and aggressively. Ghost Scepter, also pretty decent, just because the 3 main ways to kill you are all right-click damage. I think that's good.
Is a great conductor.
Oh, wait, no, I couldn't.
Witless Shaco, not bad either. Your mana pool is pretty large. All right, I hear a fight going on. Are you looking? I think you're like trying to rush there, but you're not looking. So it's harder. It's harder to know like what's been used and whatnot if you're not like actually looking. Oops. All right, that was actually that was killed pretty quickly. So I can kind of understand why that one got by. It is good to know though. Like I know that if they jump someone and TA's there, she's gonna get killed immediately. So if you kind of know someone, if the enemy has like high burst, then you have to cast Grave really early. Somehow this game goes like 10 more minutes, doesn't it? Aww. I mean, they should just put themselves in a position to win right here. Oops. Okay, if this guy buys back, I think you have to buy back too. Yeah, so if you bought back, even if you just play really safe, you can at least Grave this guy. You need to do this a little bit ahead of time to because now Zeus is dead. And so even if you buy back now with these two, it's not really any better for you. I think this is a really good time to buy back, and even if you might lose, you know, this is your best bet. And especially once he buys back, like it might have been better to wait for these two to respawn and then both of you buy back. But if he buys back, then you kind of have to buy back. Because if they kill him again like they just did, then it really is kind of a death sentence. Hey, Carl. Thank you for the 3 months. What's up? Yeah, and see, they're even calling it. They're like, okay, we just killed Zeus. We should win right now. They kind of know. Just chuck these out. Okay, she was spell immune, so you couldn't cast this one. But cast this one. Even if you guys are all full health, it reduces her armor by 2.5. Doesn't sound like a lot, but every time you cast a spell. Grave and this, 5 armor. All 3 of your spells, 7.5. And then because they're such a low cooldown, you cycle through, and you get even more. Getting ready for another Grave? I guess this is how the game goes longer. Yeah, it looks like they're getting megas now. You didn't win this game, did you? Pretty sure this was a loss.
Somebody
That's got mega'd, right? Yeah? No way. You win this one? I wasn't paying attention at the start. Do you actually? They still have 5-acts. Rip. Alright. As soon as they get buybacks, you just want to leave. And not die like that. TA buyback, though. Oh, dude, he had me going. I was like, wait. This game was... Because I remembered that this is like a 50-minute game. But then... Close, though. Yeah, so I think... Oh, hang on. We'll see it out. We'll play it out to the end first. All right. So as we discussed earlier, I'll try to do a summary here, and then we'll link that into the description, which I forgot to say at the start is an option, but I'll remember in the future. So in the lane, you had that first couple pulls that I think kind of pushed the lane out a bit and ended up making the game harder than it needed to be. Or at least the lane harder than it needed to be. Which was already weird because you had like a Wind Ranger carry, you know. But against Razor and Ogre, you guys can't go too far out. So for now, as a default, try to just do half pulls. If the timing is at like whatever minute 17 seconds, like the first pull, do a half pull. If it is 47, it varies. I personally think it might be safer to tell you guys to stack it at 53 instead of doing a pull at that second timing. But as long as it's not a kobold camp, you could do a half pull at X47, and then you can do one more half pull with the remainder of that camp in the next minute, and that's workable. The problem is if you do a full pull at that time, at X47, then you will kill off your camp, and you will not have another one for the next minute to like fix it. Yeah, also the Wind Ranger not farming the small camp. That would be an issue. And then if the camp is stacked, then you're free to do like half pulls or full pulls as needed. Because at the end of the day, you just need to get your creeps killed off without letting your enemy's creeps walk under your tower. That is like the two core concepts of all of this. Is like, I don't want the enemy's creeps walking under my tower generally pushes my lane. My creeps not being killed off generally pushes my lane. There is nuance to like get the balance where it's like, oh, my creeps died, so now it's okay for them to walk under tower, the enemy's creeps to walk under tower. But the great thing about half pulling is that it kind of like almost guarantees that both goals will be accomplished, and your carry does not need to be aware of like what's happening, because many people will not coordinate with you to do full pulls properly. So I think it's just safer to do half pulls and then to stack. And once it's stacked, then you can do whatever. Beyond that, we talked a bit about map awareness and positioning, not getting yourself in a position to have to grave TP out. That would help your mid game a bit. And I know map awareness is such a just get better map awareness, you know? But really, it is so important to be keeping an eye on the minimap to help you then make the rest of the decisions. So if you're not watching the minimap, then it's hard to know like what you're supposed to do. And then by the late game, it was already pretty hard. But I think like that buying back a little sooner, maybe you save Zeus, maybe the game ends up a little different at that point because they were diving pretty hard. So I think if you had bought back with the Zeus, maybe you save his life there, and then he like runs back to Fountain. The other guys respawn, and now you have like a 4 versus, I don't remember how many were alive at that point, but it's a little better than what ended up happening, which is like a 2 versus 5 and then like a 3 versus 5. So, yeah. Is that it? Getting the telescope, taking the cast range talents, holding skill points until you need them. Dazzle, it depends on the hero you play, but Dazzle is one of them where that like is really a good thing to do because of like Shallow Grave can change a fight because they expect to kill you, and then I have Shallow Grave. So holding your skill points in the early laning stage can be really good. And then I think that's it. Did you have any other questions? Otherwise, itemization I think was fine this game. This Zeus has a lot of energy orbs. Energy boosters. He's got 3. What's he doing? Yeah, no problem. He's probably building what? He's building an Aeon disc now? Why's the man got so many? I'm happy to help. And then I'll get this together. Maybe I won't upload. I'll probably just upload it. I'm probably going to upload a bunch this weekend just to catch up with all the replay analysis. Oh, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll still space them out one a day or something. We'll see. Okay. I think... Oh, Solar Crest is an item? Usually, I would say that's a good idea. I really like Medallion and Solar Crest on Dazzle. But you have a Wind Ranger, so it's like not good. Because Wind Ranger without her ultimate... Like with her ult, she's pretty much guaranteed a kill. Without her ult, it just doesn't feel nearly as threatening. And so giving her a solar crest, I guess that helps, but it also like just doesn't feel that good. And if she's ulting someone, then the solar crest is like useless to use on her. And I guess you could cast it on the enemy, but you're only getting like half value. Where it's like I can only use medallion on the enemy instead of like being able to use it on my carries safely. And it's easier for you to use it on your carries. Going back to that idea that Dazzle, we get the cast range talents, we stay further back. If I cast it on my teammate, who then runs into fight, it's very easy for me to do that safely. Especially if they're ranged, I can stand behind them, cast it on the ranged hero, and then fight. But if I have to cast it on the enemy, I have to be a little closer. And if I'm within range to cast Solar Range, or Solar Crest, I'm probably within range for them to jump me. So, as a Dazzle who wants to stay in the backlines, and you get a medallion and Solar Crest, if the game is not like a total stomp, it feels better to be able to cast it safely on your team, the Solar Crest, rather than to use it aggressively. And so in this case, when you have like a Wind Ranger and you have a Zeus, it doesn't feel very good to Solar Crest them. So I don't like it so much this game. I liked the Greaves because it gives you... Greaves goes really well with your cooldown, and the general armor boost is really nice against them. I do think, like, I probably wouldn't get a Solar Crest this game, but probably just a casual medallion would be pretty sick. And you actually even have an empty slot, so a casual buckler, 2 more armor, also pretty nice. Some games, an Aether Lens can be pretty good, just even more cast range on top of like the talent and maybe even a telescope. Really good against someone like Enigma or Faceless Void, where you really can't get close. Otherwise, you might get caught by their ults. Or like sometimes they ult someone and you're too short range to cast like your abilities. So getting an Aether Lens can help there. And then of course, like Glimmer, all of those basic ones if you need them. I haven't quite tried Holy Locket on Dazzle. Maybe it's okay. I kind of theorized that it might be good against Axe, because originally Holy Locket healed just enough to get past the Axe threshold, and then they buffed Axe to have like just a little bit more threshold, which was just enough to override Holy Locket. Oh, Lotus Orb can be pretty good. I don't think it would have been good that game. Maybe it's okay this game. Cancels Lift, Ogre Stun, and Link. Makes him hesitant to link whoever you target. Also counters Abyssal. So actually Lotus Orb might have been okay. Gives your hero more armor and gives you more mana regen. You don't care so much about the health regen. But then the active gives you a way to dispel silences on yourself or on your teammates. But then also you throw it on your carry, and then now she's scared to like Abyssal or anything like that. I don't think Dazzle needs Tranquils. I mean, you can, but because you have such good healing spells, Shadow Wave always targets yourself. So whenever you cast it, it heals yourself. And I kind of think as long as you have mana, you have health. So Dazzle's a hero I'm willing to skip Tranquils on. But maybe if they have like a Bloodseeker, Zeus, those kind of heroes, I might still get it, as long as I don't need Greaves. But Greaves is like so good on Dazzle, so. Yes, Greaves also dispels. No, Greaves is they're both, I think they're both basic dispels. Let's just double check. Yeah, Greaves is a basic dispel, and Lotus Orb is Lotus Orb is a basic dispel. However, Greaves only affects you, just to be clear. So you only dispel yourself. If you're silenced, you can use Greaves and dispel. Or like any other dispellable effect. But like if your teammates are in Guardian Greaves and you use it, it doesn't dispel them. It just heals them. That's why Lotus Orb is pretty good, because then that gives you a way to like, do I need to dispel myself to cast Grave? Great. Do I need to dispel this guy so he can use his abilities? Then I better do that. And then when you get both, you can dispel yourself and your teammate. Thought it was AoE. Yeah, it's not very clear when you read it. It sounds like it would dispel your team. Man, that would be so good. This would be the count. It's probably too good, honestly. This would destroy Silencer. as a hero. Anytime someone picks Silencer, like you would just build Greaves and destroy the hero. So it's probably too strong. That would be awesome though. It would be so good. Oh, it's too good. Just thinking about it's too good. Yeah, it's too strong. Any hero that like applies a slow or a silence, they would just get destroyed by it. But that's kind of why like getting the Lotus Orb, getting the Greaves, it gives you multiple dispels, and then that like it kind of does destroy Silencer anyways, right? You dispel yourself, you dispel a teammate. And usually only like 2 heroes need to be like unsilenced. I mean, obviously everyone needs to cast their spells, but like some people will just right click and they don't care, or like some people don't have like critical spells that they need to cast right then. Usually when you're a silencer ulting, it's because there's like one hero that you need to silence, like an Enigma. Maybe that's a bad example. For Enigma, you wait for him to ult and then you use it. But you know, there's usually like one hero, like a Dazzle, that you're trying to silence so he can't grave, and then you kill him or everyone else. And so it's like, I just need to save yourself. No problem, Lemonelli. I'm happy to help our future support players and our current support players, I guess, too, right? Before I end up bad. I'm getting old, you know, I can't play anymore. I can only help people so long. But yeah. Okay. I think that was all pretty useful information, so maybe we'll leave it in the video. Screw it, right? Also, if Axe doesn't get banned, am I still okay to pick Dazzle? I think it's okay. Not everyone will play Axe. I don't think it's worth waiting just because... I mean, if you have someone else who's willing to pick, then sure. You can pick second phase, and then that's fine. But I don't mind picking Dazzle against Axe. I think that frequently I will try to take a Blightstone against Axe, because Axe is... God, where is he? What am I doing?
There is no team in Axe.
Yeah, so Axe's starting armor is actually not very high. It's only 2.3. And Dazzle, his spells actually do physical damage. So the way Axes... Well, they used to like to play this way. It's not so common anymore because of the way creep cutting got changed. But the way Axe wanted to play the lane was very easy for Dazzle to abuse. So you would... Like, he would try to go cut the creep wave, and you would cast Poison Touch and just auto-attack the guy. And even though Axe has a spin, the creeps would do a little bit more damage to him because he had reduced armor. And, like, you're hitting him, refreshing Poison Touch, getting a little bit more damage out of Poison Touch because he has low armor that you're then reducing further. And then while he's surrounded by creeps, you could then Shadow Wave him, which healed all the creeps, essentially negating like one of his spins and doing a bunch of damage to him. And so it makes it very difficult for Axe to play the game or to play the lane. But then later he gets his ultimate and then he just like cuts through your ult, and then that sucks. But eventually if you get like Mech, maybe a Holy Locket, any other like healing stuff, and in those games maybe the plus 30 Shadow Wave heal is worth it. It kind of becomes a game of like baiting out Axe, like graving someone, waiting to see Axe like run to the guy to ult him, and then quickly throwing out Mech and the heal and try to like push him above the threshold to make Axe screw up his ultimate. And I know it's not good, but I think it's kind of fun to play that game. And so I don't mind picking Dazzle first and then getting counterpicked by Axe, because I think it's kind of fun, even though it's tactically not very good. But it's just kind of enjoyable to see, like, can you heal them before he ults? I just enjoy it. Yeah, you just try to shut him down early, and it depends what level Axe is. So it's on his ult. So it is 250, 350, and 450. So like in the early game, when it's only like 250 and 350, your heal plus a mech pushes it over. 450 is kind of high, where your heal is 140, maybe 170 with the whatever it's called, And then if you get a where is it? The mech is 275, Greaves is 300. So Greaves plus your heal is not actually enough because like the hero might be down to 1 health when you use it. It's not enough because they buffed, this is what I was talking about. They buffed Axe with numbers just enough to push him over these heals. And that's why that talent can make the difference. That extra 30 heal actually pushes you past 450. If you get a Holy Locket and you heal someone else with it, I forget its exact healing because of the amplifies. Actually, I can tell you, it's right below 450 because when I was testing it, I think Axe's was, I think his threshold at that time was 400 or 425, and Holy Locket with its own amplification and 20 charges was enough. If you used it on a teammate at 1 health, it was enough to push them past the threshold, but now with his change, it's not. So I'm pretty sure Holy Locket heals a little bit below 450. But when you give yourself like all these, like the Holy Locket, the mech, the heal, now it's very easy to like push your teammate past. And then if your teammate's not at like 1 health, you know, if they're like, if Axe trying to ult them at like 200, then of course it's much easier to push them above the threshold. But I just think it's a fun game. Just trying to like heal teammates. It's pretty nifty. Okay.
Let the carnage begin.
Okay, now we'll definitely end the video here. Thank you, YouTube, for watching.